to the PV Tech Newscast. This week, we'll be covering Saudi Arabia's 1 gigawatt solar tender, Ukraine's uncertain energy future, and a game-changing cell technology from GTAT. But first, in an exclusive interview with PV Tech, newly appointed CEO of Suntech, Eric Luo, outlines his company's plans for a new beginning.
We build on the old history, then we are going to add more focus on the downstream, or the entire value chain. Of course, we will continue to deliver the cell and the module, like the finished products, to Shengfeng as well as to our global customers. Okay, and on top of that, we will work a lot with the parent company Shengfeng. Okay, how to improve the total value chain. Okay, and how to improve the system performance or output of the entire the PV chain. Okay. Some of the productions will goes to the Shengfeng project. Okay, and but a significant of our productions will continue to be sold to our global customer. We are going to continue to expand our capacity. Okay, whether in China, whether internationally. Okay, to suit our global customer needs. This year, our internal capacity we expect to produce is 2.4 to 2.5 gigawatt, and we are expanding. Probably by end of 2014, we hope we can reach 3 to 3.5 production capacity. We want to keep new Suntech at the edge of the competition at the marketplace and also technology.
You can find the full version of the interview, Mr. Luo's first since his appointment, on the PV Tech website. Saudi Arabia will put 700 to 1,000 megawatts of solar power out to tender by the end of the year, according to Vahid Fotuhi, president of the Middle East Solar Industry Association. The country has long-term ambitions to invest more than $109 billion worth of solar energy, but skepticism has been building, with little tangible progress being made for outside observers to see. Speaking at Solar Media's investment and finance event at the Tower of London last week, Mr. Fotuhi had this to say.
Let's look at Saudi Arabia, which is by far the biggest market. 60% of their fuel today for power generation comes from oil. 25% is from diesel, 15% fuel oil, and about 20% from burning crude oil, just to generate power. And the other 40% comes from gas. So 100% of their power generation is oil-driven, oil and gas-driven. There's no solar, there's no wind, there's no hydro, nothing. And that's when the government saw this. They said this is not sustainable, and they said, you know what, we're going to diversify the fuel mix. We're not going to just use crude, we're going to use solar, wind, biomass, even nuclear. They created the KA-CARE in 2010, which came out with a bold announcement, which is 41,000 megawatts, and which would translate to about 20% being met from solar, which would beat Germany. So by the end of this year, you will see the first round of commercial projects being unveiled in Saudi Arabia, and that will kick off what will inevitably be a very progressive and promising curve.
PV manufacturer SunEdison is making progress with a $6.4 billion manufacturing plant in Saudi Arabia that would go some way to allaying concerns over supply to the Middle East market and could demonstrate a longer-term commitment to the area. As Russia strengthens its grip on Crimea, the fate of PV power plants in the region and in wider Ukraine is in limbo. Crimea is home to some of Ukraine's largest PV power plants, most of which have been built by Austria-based Active Solar. In the event of the region separating from the rest of the country, and leaving aside the question of how the West would respond if this happens, there is a high chance the plants, which includes Ukraine's largest, could be nationalized by Crimea's government. Should this happen, they would cease receiving Ukraine's feed-in tariff, which at 34 euro cents per kilowatt hour is among the world's most generous. Historically a peninsula that has been handed back and forth between East and West, Crimea is also a hotspot for harvesting solar energy. Under recently ousted President Yanukovych, renewables such as solar were encouraged due to Ukraine's need to break its dependence on Russian gas for energy. Active Solar has built 4 operational PV plants in Crimea, among them the 105 megawatt Perovo and the 82.6 megawatt Ohotnikovo plants. Although Active Solar has built around 80% of Ukraine's PV capacity to sell on to international investors, the company is not the only player in the country. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has financed 3 small to medium-sized projects in the country. Another company active in Ukraine is Eastern European engineering company Betin International, which builds large-scale solar projects in the country and whose CEO wants renewables companies to move on from the troubles. However, most developers cannot, as they depend on fresh international capital, which is being spooked by the political uncertainty. And finally, some technology news, as GT Advanced Technologies launch a silicon solar cell metallization and interconnect technology that it claims will boost conversion efficiencies while lowering production costs via significantly reduced silver paste consumption. The patented Merlin technology employs a different flexible screen pattern to conventional screen printing designs for finger bars that form segmented fingers onto the solar cell. Significantly less consumption of silver paste is claimed, while the segmented fingers are thinner and produce less shading than conventional finger designs. Merlin technology is claimed to be easily integrated into existing cell and module manufacturing lines with just a simple change to the screen used for patterning. The company noted that the on-cell and cell-to-cell interconnect features of the flexible grid are claimed to make a PV module more resilient when subjected to temperature cycling and mechanical flexing. The Merlin technology is also claimed to enable PV manufacturers to design highly reliable, lightweight, lower-cost modules that are less expensive to install, according to the company. Meanwhile, GT has also secured a major $336 million polysilicon equipment and technology deal with Cosmos Chemicals Berhad as part of plans to build an integrated polysilicon plant in Sarawak, Malaysia. Malaysia is fast becoming a major PV manufacturing hub outside China and Taiwan. Companies such as Hanwha Q-Cells are currently expanding capacity, as well as monocrystalline wafer producer Solar Giga there, while the country is also home to SunPower, Panasonic and First Solar. And that's all for this edition. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday, and in the meantime you can keep up to date with all the very latest news via our website and our Twitter feed. Thanks for watching.